And welcome to the second hour of Mindshifters Radio. Today is Thursday, December the 4th, 2025. And we welcome you to the show. And Mike will be with us here in a moment. And we're glad to see you. Got a little boy running around here. Sorry about that. Anyway, we had a really good meeting last night and enjoyed all of the processing that went on there. So anyway, yay. So he'll be right with us. And hope everything is going well for everybody. I have gotten to the point with Susan Bingham that I sent her a PDF of the entire book this morning. We're getting really close to the editing. And
yay! Oh my God, how exciting is that? Okay, I got no sniffy. I'm waiting on bated breath for that book to show up so I can get to know you more deeply.
Well, you definitely will. That's for sure, because it is out there.
And you deserve to be known. All of you deserves to be known.
Thank
all
you.
of you to come fully out present.
And I did a worksheet last night on feel like you're stuck with me.
Good. I know when I saw it, when I read that, the energy of that just like, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that
it's kind of, it goes along the same lines of when I introduce myself, like at the intensive, and I say, I come along with the package.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to change that.
You are the package. That's what you get to say. I am the package. Hi, Lincoln. You're going to come say hi?
Come here.
Come say hi, sweetie. I heard you. Yeah, you were snuggling with Grandpa yesterday, and we didn't get to see you.
Let's see if I can move my camera. He's got a little car sitting on the floor down here.
Oh, you're playing in your car. Oh, aren't you lucky? Oh, my, oh boy. How much fun is that to drive in your car?
That's the first thing he does when his dad brings him in the morning is he gets out of the car seat and goes straight to the car. So anyway, so Michael, I haven't even had a chance. He just ran in just like 5 minutes ago from being with Dan. And so I haven't even had a chance to tell him this, but Sean, the gentleman who is helping us do the conversions and everything, he had bought a new computer. And we had sent him one to do the conversions on. And so he's bought a new one. And so he said, if we run across anybody that's willing to help do the conversions, he will forward the computer that we bought him up to whoever. And
nice.
I said, well, yeah. And he said, in the meantime, he's going to be running like 2 computers, converting 2 at one time. So it'd be faster. And, but anyway, I told him I would mention that on the show today. We've had a couple people that, they volunteer and say, yeah, I'll help do that. And then when they see what it takes, to convert it and do the transcript and all that, then they're like, I don't have that much time. I can't commit to it. So, otherwise it will get done as we get it done.
How many, do you have any idea, honey, just how many of the shows we've got on YouTube now? Getting close to 2,000?
I know. Yeah, we've got on YouTube itself, we have, how much do we have here? And we're less than 200 viewing hours needed to put us into the earning box. We've got 1,580 followers and videos. I'm not seeing on the dashboard how many videos is there, but anyway,
so we'd appreciate if everybody would watch, click, like, join the channel, and make a comment. All of that helps to build the way that we get shown when inquiries come.
Yeah. How's everybody doing today?
What's exciting in your world? Anything to share?
Hi, this is Kerry.
Hey, welcome, young man.
So Let's see if I can put my video on here. Okay. This morning, thank you for class last night. That was great. So this morning, I did some writing on the mind shifter that
Right.
that we put up at the end of class. It is safe, healing, and easy for me to be fully known, appreciated, and cherished. So I also use some tarot prompts from the tarot. I used the prompts gratitude, love, privilege, and scrutiny. Scrutiny and then privilege. Scrutiny and then privilege. I pulled some cards with the reading. And so as I was writing, what came up was some of the things that we had been talking about. Obviously, safety, and the collection of beliefs that I have around not belonging, being ignored, not fitting in, being shut out. And the safety aspect, I wrote about how I felt unsafe and how I guard myself because of feeling shamed. And I had some things come up from my first marriage with my first husband. So my background was really different from an English upbringing. He was English and very controlled in many ways. And looking back on our relationship now, I see that a lot of the issues we had were actually cultural issues that could have been easily fixed, I think. And one of the things that he did was to point out when I was not being English enough and shaming me. So, for example, we just had our daughter and I'd come home from the hospital. Of course, we were young then. I was 19. And this was way back in 1971. And friends had hitchhiked up from London in the middle of the night in pouring rain to come and see me and the baby and Mick. And they arrived dripping wet, like 2 a.m. or something. And the way I greeted them was unacceptable. I rushed over to them, threw my arms around them, gave them big hugs, said, "Oh my gosh, you guys did all this traveling. This is a big deal. Come on in," kind of thing. "I'm so glad to see you." And my husband said, "We don't do that sort of thing here." i.e., show gratitude and affection in
We
that
keep a stiff upper lip.
in that effusive way. Yeah. So that was the beginning of being shamed, like if we went out to a dinner party or something and I dared to talk about myself, I was reprimanded on the way home. If we were dancing and I was too effusive or ebullient or energetic in my dancing, I was an embarrassment. So that was interesting to me to kind of uncover that from my denial, and how I felt shamed. So then I was writing about how safe is it for me to be me in every moment? And also, if someone has intimate knowledge of me, it can be used against me. He did that as well. So I was kind of knocked down when I was either vulnerable or letting go or being me. And I felt ashamed. I had this feeling of shame come up. So I have shame within me that I need to explore. And why is it that I guard myself? Because obviously I took on those judgments from him and made them part of myself, that somehow I am a shameful person. And how do I hold myself to my personal standards and honor myself, and don't wound myself with those judgments and that negative feeling, and loosen my grip on any form of self-loathing that I have and the accompanying shame that goes along with that. So, I feel like that this safety thing has to rise up within me, and it's very connected to trust. And so I cannot simply get those feelings from others from without. So safety is built on trust, and I need to do some work on that, on opening myself up to fearlessness and releasing shame and honoring myself and others, because all of that is a pathway to trust, right? And so walking that path is going to really challenge some of my old beliefs. And, I'll stumble along as I move forward. And I see that I'm in community, and that I can give up the idea that it's hard, and that I can ask for help, and so the help I'm getting from this process is what I'm talking about, and from my community that I built up with you, Michael, as you have been building your community. I feel a part of that. And
Yay, and you can be as effusive as you want to be.
and I realized that's why I've held myself back all these years, because it came from early on when I was ignored as well and not heard. So there's all of that. And then it was like I attracted that to me in that first marriage, so that it would play out even more. And I can use this group, this community, these tools, your support, for the courage that I need. So I wrote then about denial and scrutiny, and this path that I'm on of uncovering and releasing all my feelings of separation. Because as I look at not belonging, I see like everyone is aspects of me, right? So rather than seeing it as not belonging to this group or that group or this person or that person, I have to look at the lack of trust within me. How am I not belonging all these different aspects of myself? How can I bring these different aspects of myself together so that I can be deeply and fully known within, rather than looking without? Because that, when I get to that place within, that's where I can just be that with others. So, as you teach, as A Course in Miracles teaches, as a lot of, spiritual things, spiritual religions and groups teach, I have to see it from this perspective that it's a mirror for me, and that if I'm being feeling like I'm being shut out by others, where am I shutting myself out? What's my role in feeling like a victim to the shame, guilt, and isolation that I have built up? So when I think of the patriarchy, I think of shame. So I think of shame as a woman, shame in my body, never being quite right. For example, I was shamed as a teenager of not strong enough, too bleeding, too weak, too smelly. You know, we're told by commercials on TV, oh, you need to smell good. You know, you need to have this scent and that deodorant. And I'm too uncoordinated. I'm too inelegant. I'm not an elegant person. So there's always these standards to look up to that aren't mine. These standards were things that were adopted by this patriarchal culture that then shut me out. A lot of people have linked that sort of thing with capitalism, so that in order to constantly be earning money, corporations make you feel bad about yourself. You know, I don't belong to that core of beautiful people. I don't have the right clothes. I don't have the right body. I don't have the whatever. So I also don't belong to the strong people of the patriarchy because I'm not male. So I'm too emotional, too weak. I was writing and I'm like, well, you know what? I am not the doctor. I'm the chicken soup person. Who am I? I'm not the lawyer. I am the divine laws person. I'm not the loudly righteous. I'm the allowing person. So one of the things that I had been exploring over these past months is I've learned to take my grief, let it fully express, honor it, let it go on a deep level, yet it always calls me back in some way. And I kind of likened it to a forlorn lover. What does that mean? Grief about not being deeply known, grief about not living in a deeply belonging way.
Look at all the
So,
losses you just described.
yeah.
And that's where grief plays out.
So I recognize that through the lens of fear and mistrust that I have built up, the lens of my beliefs about not belonging, not fitting in, or being ashamed. So that was just some of the thoughts that came up in my writing this morning, and lots to work on and lots to honor, lots to love, lots to be deeply trusting in my community and my process and all of that. So that's what I did this morning.
Big chunk of work holding the space for you.
Yeah.
One of the questions that comes to ask is, you know, in a sense, you're pretty much out there as an activist. And your activism, in order to get things accomplished that you wanted to get accomplished through your activism, ever used any of those tools that you just enumerated that the patriarchy is set up, capitalism is set up in order to force people where you want them to be?
So the other part of my writing was my privilege. And so I do acknowledge that when I was going through the lawsuits over the prairie the last couple of years before I retired. I was absolutely running the campaign on an ethics of no flinging mud at people, you know, kind of really being honoring other people's points of view. And that's what I expected everybody else who was part of this campaign to do. And that yes, I had to work within the structures that we live in terms of lawsuits, etc., because that's what people understand. So we lost the lawsuits, and I feel like we won a big time battle or a big time way of seeing. So I don't feel any of it was wasted. And yes, I used those resources for sure. Is that what you meant?
Well, just wondering, and when you say you were consciously ethical, then that would give me the answer no to my question, that you were purposely, consciously choosing to be ethical rather than force people into a position that you wanted them in, which tends to be the game of commercial business and hierarchy. So nice work.
Yeah, and all of our messaging and our campaigning was all focused on an earth-centered approach of honoring all life and not about making people wrong. So we allowed their voices to say what they wanted to say, and our voices changed the narrative, and people just saw that. People understood that. The press did, the school children all over the state who were writing letters urging their Congress people to save this prairie. It was an incredible journey of love, I think.
Powerful. That's awesome. Nice work.
Yeah.
Overcoming those power person dynamics was something that I know was so important to you. That says a lot about you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I can't imagine what a mom coming home with a new baby and being enthusiastic about her children would likely feel she would need to give up when her husband comes on as disapproving. But I would imagine that might be a dozen or so worksheets on grief, because that to me sounds, if it were me, that's my projection of it, that would be a big loss.
Yeah.
And so it might be worth looking there to see if there's another piece of that grief to be forgiven.
Thank you.
And it sounds like you, from your languaging, you bought into a lot of the disapprovals that showed up.
I did.
And I'd support you. Letting go of those.
Okay, I'm just going to write that down. Susan, do you have any insights?
What a mind shifter.
Sure.
My presence and being are enough to inspire approval from my parents, my husband, and everyone who's important to me. Are you breathing?
Yeah.
Good. So holding the space for that. And Miss Susan, do you have any thoughts for Kerry?
Yeah, first of all, Kerry, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I was breathing all the time that you were speaking. I'm just writing down that mind shifter as well. Here's your my reflection. Um, and I could see, like, and I loved how you got to the space where you recognize even getting your first husband was the replication and the reactment of where the origin of taking on that, because in your little unconscious as a little girl, it originated there with the power person dynamic. And yes, it's replicated at 19, but that feeling, and I loved how you used the word, because it's also my journey about being fully, deeply known and allowed to be in our own truth. That's really coming up big. And knowing this in here is my truth. And I get to be fully in my own presence. And how we go in the world and bring all the fractal pieces or the fragments of ourself that have not been brought home, and the belief system that you don't deserve to be fully known. Now you're being able to create, bringing all those, because what I was writing down when you were speaking, first of all, I want to say, I am privileged to be in your presence. And I really want you to receive that.
Thank you. Thank you,
Just
dear heart.
really, I want you to, the energy of that. It is a privilege to be in your presence. And know that is the truth of it, because you are a guiding light of God, and you will bring your unique expression into this world that nobody in the 7.8 billion people can articulate, can bring in through your perspective into this world and bring love to this plane. So it's an absolute privilege. And then I also wrote down, I trust myself and my knowing. I trust myself. And that's the whole journey. When we get the reflections and refractions and people's telling us what we're not, that's just the opportunity to come back truer to state and articulate what we are and know it. That's the KNOW, the Niao in Hawaii. They call it the Neo. And then I love this one. I belong to myself. And that all aspects of myself belong within me, within self. And I am deeply known and fully received by myself. And when we claim it there, and we know it with the Niao, everything outside of us reflects that back to us. So your speaking today was right exactly where I'm at, and landing in the felt sense and having the direct experience that I am right here, and I know all of me, and I love all of me, the parts that would be perceived as shadow and light, and that I am whole in my own expression.
I approve of all of it.
Yeah, and I have approval, and that all of me is invited and welcomed to exist in my own presence. And it is a privilege to be in my own presence. And I would say that for everybody on the call. Just breathe with that. Every one of us, it is a privilege to be in our own presence. And that with each of you being a reflection of my own identity and my own consciousness, it is a privilege to be in each of your presence, because each of you only reflect that of which I am. So thank you so much, Kerry. That was just wow, wow, wow. And I really honor you, and it really is a privilege that I get to see myself through you. Yeah, thank you.
And it's a joy to walk with you in purpose and to watch how, with integrity, Kerry you go step by step into your work and do it. And I've watched you do that for a couple decades now. And I've watched you get more conscious and more gentle and more caring in every step of it. And that's pretty rare. So, congratulations. Big hug.
Thank you.
Yeah,
This-
through the screen. You're getting one of these right
Yeah.
now. Just a big pat on the back. I'm just saying, way to
Yeah.
go. Way to go. Beautiful
Yeah,
work.
this community has been a big part of that. So I'm glad to see it growing and evolving. As you evolve, Michael, as we all evolve. Thank you.
Walking each other home.
Yes.
That's the whole thing. So, holding the space, joining you, and enjoying watching your light just get stronger and stronger.
So I'm exploring, what is the future me, uncovering the layers, sitting with the changes. Everything is seen, everything is vibration. Where are the shifts? And I think it's in the small things.
That's where it shows up.
Yeah.
When you confront a situation that yesterday would have aroused something other than the presence of love, and you notice that it's disappeared. It's like that's the fruit of your labor, and it tends to happen piece by piece by piece.
Mhm.
And when you let the intelligence of the breath into those spaces that we've been taught to hold our breath in the presence of, then things move to the next level in the most powerful way. Go breathing with you. Anything else to share?
No, I'm complete for now. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. The powerful demonstration of stepping up to the plate and doing the work that needs to be done. So awesome.
I have a question from KK. So she asked Sean last night, and he thought about it for a moment, and it's a loaded question, but she asked, how do we know God loves us? Sean said he thought that it was rather profound, and do you have a take on it? And please
absolutely
discuss it
do.
on the show.
I absolutely do have a take on it. God does not love you, not one scintilla. Never has, never will, never could, never can. The same as you've never loved anyone, and no one's ever loved you, and no one ever will love you, and you will never love anyone. That's all the misuse of a word, love. If you look at that little face on the screen, pardon me, and about 16 months ago, you were holding him and tapped into his essence, you would find that his essence is love. You, Lincoln, I'm talking about you. And if his essence is love, then he can't love you. He can only be love in your presence. And we've created a false definition for this word. We call people who end up enraged and divorcing and fighting and scrambling for assets with each other, we call them love relationships. Like, hello, 60% of them end in divorce, and they're love relationships. We have people writing songs like, love hurts. We've been sold a bill of goods. We've been sold a lie. And when we buy into that lie, we end up missing out on what truth could bring. So my suggestion in that case would be to recognize that UKK, as with all of us, live, move, and have our being in the world as the presence of love. When we give that up to pursue the world's cheap copy of that, remember the world has a cheap copy of everything real in the dimension of breath. And the world's cheap copy is, I love you, which is, as long as you're doing what I want you to do, I'll approve of you. But by God, if you stop doing what I want you to do, it's going to be something other than what appears to be love. And in an instant, approval can turn to disapproval. So-called pretend love can turn to hate. And that's just not possible. Love can only ever be itself. So I can honor and cherish you as a presence of love. I can choose to cherish you. I can choose to be the presence that I am in your space and extend the presence of my energy or my love to you. But this whole false language is developed leads us off on a track that just isn't accurate. And when we get led off on a track that isn't accurate, we lose the prize. And the prize is that of experiencing yourself as the presence of love, regardless of what anybody else does, because you've cleaned out, you've forgiven everything in you that's unlike love. And from that space, a whole new world begins within the mind, within our physiology, and within our relationships. So properly using the word love, it represents a state of being that we're created from and designed to experience 24/7, 365, whatever anybody else is doing. However, when we live in a culture where when someone violates something around that thing we've called love and we hold our breath, we cut ourselves off from the presence of love. We, at that point, when the breath is held, we function out of historically unresolved dynamics in regard to whatever issue it is that we're facing. And so we're functioning in that arena without intelligence. When I allow myself to go to those spaces where yesterday I might not have breathed and allow myself to breathe, then I can free myself of those unconscious generational dynamics of disapproval and anger and rage and control and hatred and vengeance and resentment, all those things. Then I get to show up as love. My offering is that's the objective of this work. It's not to love one another. If you go to the Aramaic language, you never hear Yeshua saying, love one another. What you hear is Yeshua says, have rakma for the Creator, for neighbor, and by so doing, you will maintain your own human life, love. And rakma is a condition in the frontal lobes of the brain that can be active in two states. One of them is simply active. And when it's active, intentions keyed to any form of hostility or fear are blocked. And the only energy fed from the frontal lobes of the brain where intentions are stored are those based in love. This activates a second filter over perception, because when all of my intentions are keyed to love, then my goals are keyed to love, and my goals are set out of love. Pardon me, when my goals are set out of love, then my mind can only build perceptions based in love. That's the chain of command as to how the mind works. And then my behaviors, people will say, oh, that's a loving behavior. not because I'm loving anyone, but because I am creating. I'm setting up, literally down to the very words I speak. I'm setting up vibratory energies based in love rather than hostility and fear. And if you start to look at every place where hostility or fear comes up for anyone, you'll notice that the only time hostility or fear ever come up are when someone's violating a goal that you hold for them. And that goal is the key way into your forgiveness. That is, into you being able to access the parts of your mind that hold whatever form of hostility. For when I say your mind, I'm talking about all of us. And it's the key way to cleaning up the mind of its hostilities, its fears, its resentments, etc. So I hope that helps. Makes sense. Does that arouse any thoughts for anyone else? And by the way, I see Sally's with us. Sally, I'm glad to hear your mom's doing better. Any more reports?
Oh, thank you all for breathing with me. I had a good opportunity to practice this work. Mom is on her way home from the hospital right now.
Yay!
I know. She does these little episodes every now and then, but I'm oh my goodness. I had a moment to practice with my own mind. You know, it was about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the evening when I got the message from my brother saying that she was on her way to the hospital, or no, he sent a picture of her in the hospital. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't have left. I should have this, I should have that. And I watched my mind go into every form of old stuff that
You let your mind shoot all over you?
oh, you did. It was bad.
That's a good thing to
it was, oh my goodness, it was like a bad movie. And so I had to settle it down in order to go to sleep. And knowing the group was breathing and knowing that my mother was safe in her journey, and you know, just it was a lot of practice shifting, breathing shifting, and I've felt so much gratitude knowing that I wasn't just me alone, and that there were all of us, and that whatever was to be on her journey was what was to be on her journey. And I could just love her with whatever that was supposed to be. So, yes, thank you so much for asking. And I think I you know, it's also been funny. I've been feeling, you know, like guilty that I'm here with my beautiful Pacific Ocean, you know, just savoring the beauty of the everythingness here on the island. Meanwhile, my brothers are schlepping through 7 to 8 feet of snow, and you know, trying to manage my mother in my absence. I feel like, oh, but then I remember it's okay for me to rest. It's okay for me to, you know, bring in the sound of the roosters and the rhythm of the waves. And I will get out there in the water again today. My first day out, I had a little trouble, kept getting my breath to work right. It was just, I was a little bit on overload still from the 11 hours of travel and the episode with Mom. And I found when I got out there in the waves that I wasn't quite in my rhythm yet, but I didn't push it too hard. I just waited, and today's another day. So I'm so grateful for this time. And I'm so grateful to be able to chime in on the show and listen to you all.
Well,
So
congratulations. Congratulations for being in a space with a lot of stress and still being able to make the choice to take care of yourself. rather
you.
than, hang out with an old guilt trip and
Oh
go
my
into
goodness.
self-destruct mode. I mean, that's nice catch, nice piece of work to let that one go. And guess what?
Wow.
If you look at all those things you just mentioned that went through your head, how many of them had you watched your mother practice?
Everyone.
And how much of a contribution do you suppose it made to when we heard from you first? There was surgery coming down the pike. That was the likelihood.
Hmm.
How much do you suppose the work you did to free yourself of those things opened the space energetically for her to shift and change?
I may never know the answer to that question, but I feel it was the best contribution I could possibly make.
And to be
You got
held
it.
in the arms of the Divine Mother and Kauai while you're doing it. Doesn't get better than that.
Being in the right place at the right time.
Amen, amen, amen.
God's got you fully and completely because you said, come and rest in my womb and my presence while you let go and you reach your new level of vitality and let go all that does not serve the evolution of your soul.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo.
Beautiful. Yeah,
Let
beautifully
go.
said.
Let go all the things you think you want. Your trifling treasure put away. And the greatest gift you can give to the world is leave that clean and open space within your mind for Christ to enter this world. Because there aren't many openings right now for it.
Breathing with that.
So breathing with you. Appreciating you.
Sending island love to you.
Received. Received, and we'll continue to do the worksheets on envy.
And do you have you got a picture in the background with your screen so we can really be in envy?
I
Oh,
do.
thanks.
Oh my
I don't need
goodness.
that. I don't need that.
Just
I
taking
could
me
do
back where
this.
my soul's there. I get to connect my soul's in Kauai always. Part of my
Oh,
leave, a
you
part of my
guys.
soul there for sure. So it's the
You
most
guys.
beautiful,
Let me
beautiful.
see if I can do this.
Okay.
I have video right here.
Okay.
Let me
Wow.
scoot over so you can see the water.
Well, there's a picture in the background. I don't know, just what I see is I see
Oh,
some
okay.
coniferous trees. So you might have that on as your
Oh, okay.
background. You must have a background on your phone because
Oh, you're right. You're
yeah, the
right.
background picture does not match the ocean. I'm just letting you know.
I'll fix it for next time.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks
Oh.
for even making the effort.
I will
appreciate it.
make sure you see it. I know I have those
Yay.
technology skills.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Love to y'all.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you.
Mike, I have a question for you. So did you happen to do a breathwork session this morning?
I did.
Okay,
I
so I
actually
gotta
just walked in the room from breathing
Okay,
down.
so I have to tell you what happened. And then so
Tell us,
I don't
tell
know
us.
I don't know what time you were doing it, but I came out of dream time and something is shifting within my physiology and I knew it, and I don't even have a language for it, but I knew what you two are doing. And maybe it's because I'm an aspect of you. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm just even trying to find language. Something is shifting within my own being with you and Dan coming together and doing this work. Physiologically, the masculine is shifting in my field. I don't even know how to explain it, but it was so, I could feel it actually happening. Now, how's that for a
Oh,
story?
holding the space for it.
Whatever that means. And yeah, I was like, holy cow. It was just right out of dream time. Like I was just coming in from Delta up into Theta and the alarm had just rang and then I could just, I could feel it, but I had to, because I had sessions early. So normally I spend time and breathe and would have been able to be immersed in that for a moment, but I had to get up and get going because I had a session with a client. So, but I did get about 4 minutes to be able to just be there, which is interesting. Yeah. Thought I'd share that.
Michael, you muted.
Oh, I was just saying that we had a really powerful time and appreciation for making that introduction. Definitely soul brothers and everything moving in the divinest of order, let's say.
It's really interesting because I mean we all have a divine masculine feminine within us. So you two coming together. I mean it's a deep nodal point for the geometry of humanity. It's shifting not just your own work, but for all of humanity. You two coming together as soul brothers. Like there's no question. Like walked many, many journeys together. Yeah, it's bringing tears to my eyes now. Yeah, and I don't know what this got to do with my story, but it has something to do with this, whatever that is. I'm just being in it, and we'll see what gets revealed. And like I said, even in the breath work when that was going down. So, but yeah, thank you for being for clearing out whatever's still held in my own, helping that to move
Holding
even
the
more.
space.
I so appreciate that.
Holding the space for you and every mind, heart, and being on the planet. That's where
Yes,
we're going with it.
I feel it. Yeah.
Every.
And you know what? I love that the image that you gave when you originally were showing about the publishing of your book, Back to the Celestian Prophecy, when that was published, you're showing you would have that spike, but then it would die. And now how
Right.
it's circulating around the world. Yes, you talked about AI contributing to that, but it's so much more than that. It's finally the consciousness of humanity is ready for that, the truth of that energy to surround the planet, and it's ready to come out. And it's actually
time.
it's coming from the inside out. It's coming from the inside out. It's from the just like we were saying with Kerry, right? It's the presence. It's an honor to be in our presence, and an honor to be in your presence and holding the truth of the connection to Yeshua's teachings and coming out into humanity. I just see a big explosion in the entire world being engulfed, the entire earth being engulfed in that. And then that's what creates the areola. Is that what that's called? I'm sorry, that's not what's it called when the light goes around the head of the one who's enlightened. Is
The
that
aura?
there's another name. I think it's it's also
Halo?
it's a halo, but it starts with A. It's also like the same term that you use around the nipple. They call it the areole. That's
Okay.
but it's almost spelt like that, but that's what comes up and surrounds and I see once that's achieved, the entire earth gets that. The consciousness has been entrained into that light, into the truth of Yeshua's teachings. Yeah, it feels so, so profound. Oh, so exciting.
Time for it to be available on the next level. For sure. And certainly a privilege to be part of facilitating it. Pretty amazing. Pretty sweet to have a human life right now.
Hammy
For
has
sure.
her hand up.
Hey, go for it, young lady. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, sitting here with my hand in the Avison and listening to everybody share. Thank you, everybody. It's been an awesome show. I had something come up in writing today that I wanted to throw out there about separation.
Right.
If there's no separation, then why do we keep talking about the separation between masculine and feminine?
Well, if you listen to Einstein, what he's telling us is that we're living in an optical delusion of separateness. And we're living in an optical delusion of separateness because we've been fed thoughts of separateness. And so healing the thoughts of separateness, dealing with it, addressing it, forgiving it, delivering it up to the active intelligence of the breath is what's going to dissolve the optical delusion. Remember, the one of the functioning purposes of the mind is to turn thoughts into pictures. And
Right.
so the fact that we've got all these thoughts about separation means we get pictures of separation. So address, apply forgiveness, and let loose a bit. And once you let loose a bit, then the illusions, the energies we've measured into the mind, will dissipate and we'll be freed of them. Does that make sense for what you're looking at for?
Yeah, it came up in my writing this morning, and it's like there is no separation.
That's right.
If there is no separation, then there is no this whole thing of talking about masculine and feminine. Like I think it was at the intensive that if I was rejecting masculine, I was rejecting part of myself.
Right. Yep.
And then that came up today, and it's like, um, there is none. It's all the same. We put the words to it, like this is a masculine thing, but you know, I mean, Joe likes theater. That's our society basically says that's women and gay men that are into that. Um, but he was proclaiming his love for it, and my husband will also proclaim his love for it, very deeply. And a lot of people would, automatically go, "Oh, that's so gay," or "What kind of man are you?" It's like it's something to be enjoyed by those who enjoy it, not male or female.
Right. There's a great line in the Course in Miracles that says, when thoughts of separation have been changed to ones of love, that's when the world is born again.
I'm
And
sorry, can
And,
you repeat that?
yes, when thoughts of separation are changed to those of love, it seems as if the world is born again. Literally, the world of perception is reborn, quote unquote, every time we change an errant thought.
Right.
And the illusion, the picture of separation, heals on another level. We've been hanging out with this whole separation game for a long time.
We have.
And so it's a process to undo it, for
And
sure.
what you say, Michael, before is so it goes the fact that you got that, Cami, and it has to go back in the same way it went out. Because we're cleaning things up, just like when we have to deal with the physical, the mental, or the emotional healing in our healing crisis. The way that distortion went into the system is the way we draw it out. So as we're cleaning and we're closing the delusion of separation, and we're healing as we go back into the oneness and the unity. But all the thoughts that distorted it, or all the emotions that distorted it, it's coming back for its cleansing to be purified back to the oneness, to the unity consciousness, which you got this morning. That is the truth. And we get to watch ourselves in humanity reclaim that truth and undo all of the thought forms, all of the emotions, and all the physical aspects that created that distortion through our healing and moving into our new level of vitality.
Yeah.
And
So
can you identify the piece of work that you did that brought that insight just rushing to the surface?
I was doing a mind shifter on men who have sexually abused me. And I don't know where it came from. It was just, there it came. It's like th- there is no difference except for these physical body parts that we call different, which brought up a whole new thing about, um, gender neutrality and gender identification and all of that we've done to ourselves. Um, I haven't got a chance to really go there, but I have a niece who's raising her born female daughter as a male. She decided at 5 that
Right.
she was a boy, and I struggle with that because at 5 I wanted to be a boy. At 5 years old, I could tell that men had more power in this world. And I'm not.
Right.
I totally. I don't totally understand gender dysphoria because I've not experienced it except for like that, and I was raised with boys as a child, and just everybody, they all seemed more powerful than me. um
Right.
I just want to make sure that didn't come off in any way shape or form as I was judging transgender people,
I didn't hear that at all.
as we like to label it. It can be a touchy subject for some people, so
Yeah, that can be
um,
a horrific subject for some people. The suffering, the judgment, the trauma that many are experiencing around the issue. And if you do some scientific research, there are 4 genders. There aren't 2 genders. If you look at the genetics, the way genetics combine, the factors that physiologically make a male physically male and make a female physically female are dual. And if you get the 2 factors that create a female form coming into a sperm and an egg, then you have someone who's going to, not have any gender dysphoria because they have the factors for female. And if you get someone who has the factors for male come into a sperm and an egg, they're not going to have any gender dysphoria because they have both factors that create the inclination are male. However, if you get a combination where at conception that um, zygote has 1 factor male and 1 factor female, you now created gender dysphoria. It's just part of the way the system works. And it's interesting if you look at some historical cultures where that was recognized, people who had that anomaly, and there's a great line from Paul. There's a lot of what Paul said I don't agree with, but he puts forward a really powerful line. He says, "Beware you who judge another, for that in which you judge another, you have been guilty of practicing." And so often you look at these people out there enraged about this or that or the next thing. When you catch them in the back room, that's what they're doing. And that's why they're raging about it.
right.
And so to recognize that if I'm living in alignment with the law of Rachma, then I am the space of love for whoever or whatever shows up that's in alignment with love and life. And it's not my business. But people who make it their business, it's because they have an issue they haven't dealt with yet. And it's, just kind of one of the crazy things of the game of the world.
So I've wondered this, like my concerns that I have for my nephew, um is, or for my niece, for the family,
Right.
is at 5 years old determining, because he was raised gender neutral,
Yeah.
5 years old determining that he was a boy. And
I agree with you. I think
I'm
that's a
just
big issue. You know,
like
if
my
every little boy that decided he wanted to be a fireman, or every little girl that decides she wanted to be a fireman, that their course for life was set. Oh, you're going to be a fireman now that you decided at 5. It's it's definitely not a simple issue to face or deal with.
like I feel like I'm being judgmental when I just think that that's too young, and I guess it is a judgment.
You know,
Um,
you might
and
do
I
some
think
forgiveness around it, and that it's not your place, perhaps, to make that assessment for someone else. That the biggest gift you can give them is to be the space of conscious, active, present love. Because when, especially with people who don't have access to conscious, active, present love, when it shows up, truth shows up. So if there is a challenge in their decision, and if everybody's standing back disapproving, then that is probably going to remain solidly in place. If somebody shows up as the presence of conscious, active, present love, and there's something else true to be considered, then chances are the person who shows up without the judgment, but simply as a space of being, is going to strengthen the voice of being, which is going to be the voice of truth. That would be my
yeah,
take.
yeah, I feel like I showed up with love when I went up there this summer, and it's like just this little gnawing concern, and maybe that's something that I need to work on because of the memory that, yeah, I wished I was a boy at 5 too.
Right.
But this is also a different world. So
Oh, that's for sure.
Cyan is being raised in a world, and in Canada, not in the States, where it seems like people are more accepting. Um, at least it did to me when I was there. Um, and I don't even know how we got there. You asked me about my writing, and somehow we went there. So I guess that's a worksheet, because I absolutely, my niece is me. She's going to do what she's going to do, and she's going to do it in people's face. And I mean, when I was her age, I was so like that. And I'm proud of her, because that's how we raised her to be, to stand up for herself and do what she thinks is right. When people were telling me I shouldn't homeschool, I was like, this is my child. I don't know what
Yeah.
makes you think that you have any right to say of how I raise my child.
But maybe you want to apply that thinking to the situation that we're talking about.
Oh yeah, I have. I
Yeah.
have. Like, it's just really this little bitty concern about, well, what if he grows up and decides, no, I'm a girl, and you know what I mean?
Going to
It,
face another whole set of challenges.
yeah, yeah, and whatever. Um, yeah, I don't feel any charge to it, but there is that, but what if? So yeah, I'll definitely do one. Um, because that's what I said, what I just said about, that she is me, doing exactly what she wants, and that's how we raised her to be. That
Hmm.
I've held that. I'm so proud of her, and I'm proud of those of us who raised her to stand up for herself and her rights. And I,
Breathe.
I laugh inside because she's so me. She is so me. Let's see. Is there something that I can face and I can take on and challenge that the world isn't quite ready for yet? Oh yeah, let me step up for that one,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, well, I need to be a part of that. Um, so I actually love it. Um, and thank you too for the clarification, because I know we're over time.
I have a quick comment, if that would be okay. An example, just are the parents negotiating or are they just deciding to let the child change genders?
They so they raised well, him, gender neutral.
Mhm.
At 5, he decided he was a boy. They talked openly about it. Like I said, like my little concern about it is when I was 5, I wanted to be a boy too.
Yeah, I have a nephew who was a niece who, when she was very small, announced she was a boy. And her cousins came up to us. I've talked about her before on the show. One of her cousins said, "Mom, Edie is a boy." And I said, "Really?" And yep, Edie's a boy. And this is because the child felt the boyness of that little person. The parents said, "Look, when you are of age, you can make that decision. And we're open to your thoughts and lots of dialogue and doctor's visits, but none of us is ready, nor are you, to make a decision like that. Um, let's do it when you leave home and you can decide." And then he said, his present self, he said, "I will do that, but I'd rather do it under your roof. I'll wait till I'm a teenager and then I'll do it then, but I'd like to have you support me." And they agreed, and it's been a tremendously successful transition. He was very depressed as a girl. He really, probably what Michael said about the dual gender thing, he was male in his brain and female in the presentation and needed to be aligned male to male inside himself. And he's this 6 foot tall, bearded, strapping guy who's got a girlfriend, and he's just so happy. So I don't know whether that's an option to put it off so that you can all, yeah,
They've already. I like that idea. That's the way I would have rather have seen it go.
yeah.
But it's non-negotiable,
Oh, I see.
and
Okay.
I wouldn't
Alright.
even go there
Okay,
with her because
got it.
she would just shut down, and then she would feel like I was judging and being a part of the resistance.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because
Tough.
most of the family won't talk to her anymore because
Tough.
of, so yeah. But I'm part of what got all of this going was you talking about being a tomboy
Yeah,
as a child, and that really hit me. And I don't know if I was a tomboy or it was that I lived in a neighborhood full of boys, so I did boy stuff.
yeah, that too.
You know,
Yeah,
I identified as a tomboy, but
yeah.
um,
Well,
but it was play sports and play outdoors and do all the stuff that they did, or don't have anybody to play with,
right.
So
And isn't even that patriarchy what Dr. Tim's talking about? The boy, the gender, the perception that just because you do like playing outdoors and that you're a boy. What if it's just curiosity and exploring that part of yourself? But we were taught that if you do that, then you fall into this category called tomboy. What if
yeah.
that's all? What if that's all just a line of of not real?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, Susan. Just because I like to climb trees,
Yeah,
I liked at a young age, I liked doing risky things.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I
So
didn't
that
sit inside and play dolls all the time. That was boring.
yeah. So that yeah,
I did. I had a ton of Barbies. I loved my Barbies,
yeah.
but I'd rather be outside.
Yeah, I get that. Can I make one observation of your statements, what you were saying before? So I don't know what this will lead to, but you kept saying when you were talking about your niece, and so I'd love for you to go back and listen to this piece. Those of us who raised her and how
Yeah.
we raised her. So there's
Right.
something there. So I don't know either. Were you involved in her raising the little girl's raising? So that
Yeah.
might be that, or yeah, there's something about the dynamic of more than one being responsible for
Uh,
which is your story.
yeah. So because Alex is an in vitro fertilization baby, and we couldn't have any more kids. And this was my best friend had 4 kids, and we bought the house next door to them when it went up for sale, and we all co-parented all of the kids, and the kids very much identify as siblings, and as I mean, they know there's a difference, but yeah, and I am the only parent of the 4 that's left. So I don't know that that has
Well,
anything.
because you were saying in reference to it kept coming up in reference to this particular 5-year-old. So the 5-year-old, you are the parent to the 5-year-old's mom. Did I get that correct? That you,
No, no, no.
oh,
Oh, yeah. So Hannah, the mom of the
yeah,
5-year-old who is now a boy.
yeah, yes,
So,
okay,
Hannah is my niece that
yes,
not my niece, but my best friend's
got
oldest
it.
sister that we live next door. The kids were always at one house or the
Yeah.
other, and
So when you were speaking, though, I just want to point out, so Hannah's the one that you were co-parenting with your friend who's passed away, and then you guys were in this co-parenting role, and she is perceived and that they're siblings, even though they're not blood linked, but as family. But when you were talking about the 5-year-old who's experiencing the transition or a boy in a girl's body, you kept referencing the term those of us who raised her. You were talking about that. So go back and listen because there's a thread there. I don't know what it is. You said that I think 3 times
I
in
was thinking
speaking.
about Hannah
Okay. Okay.
because they've been in Canada since Cyan was born.
Yeah. Yeah, just because the words fly up, like Michael says, the thoughts are below that and it's just go back and I'd like clarification after you listen because I think there's a clue of something there. I just pointed that out. That's very strong. I don't know what it is. And when you listen, you'll maybe see something. And I just wanted to point that out.
Okay.
Very sweet.
I just
All right.
watched Cyan for the first time this summer, so that's not fitting, but um I will go listen to it and see what comes up.
Cool.
And
All
thank
right.
you. Can I real quick just say thank you, Susan, for saying that about because it's the same going out as it is going in. So the talking about it as it's going out and healing the division. Okay, sorry.
Healing crisis. Symptoms.
Yeah, perfect.
The only difference
yeah.
between the disease process and the healing process is the energy moving in or out. Symptomatically, it's
Right.
identical on every level.
Right, that absolutely
Yeah.
clarified for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Cool. All
All
right.
right.
Thanks, everybody. Have a blessed one.